Hello everyone, I'm Kartika.
Welcome to part 3 of Research and Academic Writing. This session deals with vocabulary. It is important to use strong vocabulary while writing research papers. Here are some tips to improve vocabulary. First one, word cloud generation sites. Word clouds are visual representations of text. It helps in gaining insights on word choice and keyword prevalence, also in assessing the key themes and points. If the result displays words you hadn't intended to emphasize, then that's a sign you should revise your paper. Here is an example of a word cloud generated by a website called Taxido. Examples of word cloud generation sites are Tuxedo, Word It Out, Tagul, WordSift, etc. Second point is study language patterns of similarly published works. We can study the language pattern found in the most downloaded and cited articles related to a particular area. If you're writing for a journal, understand the editorial preferences and write accordingly. Third one, use more active and precise verbs. We can use thesaurus to identify synonyms. Examples are Merriam-Webster, Cambridge Dictionary, etc. Make sure the substitutes fit the context in which you need a more interesting word. Now let's have a look at some of the substitutes that can be used instead of common words or phrases while writing a research paper. First point, describing the scope of a current project or prior research. Usually, we write this paper or study or investigation aims to. To avoid the usage aims to, we can say this paper applies X to Y. Instead of writing, this paper aims to apply X to Y. Let's have a look at one example. This paper explores how lower sun exposure impacts moods. Instead of writing, this paper aims to address the impact of lower sun exposure on moods. Next one, to introduce the topic of a project or paper. Usually we write the paper or study or article discusses or presents. Otherwise, we will write prior research or investigations, discusses or presents. Instead of using these words, we can use substitutes like surveys, questions, highlights, outlines, features, investigates, etc. To describe the analytical scope of a paper or study. This paper considers or analyzes or explains. Instead, we can use evaluates, interprets, clarifies, identifies, delves into, advances, appraises, defines, dissects, probes, tests, explores. To preview other sections of a paper, for example, we write section X covers, or section X deals with, or section X talks about. Instead of using these words, we can write outlines, highlights, sketches, assesses, contemplates. Next point is outlining a topic's background. To discuss the historical significance of a topic, usually it is written like this. Subject plays an important role in, or subject plays a vital role in. To avoid these common usages, we can say this topic significantly or considerably influences or controls or regulates, directs, inhibits, constrains, governs, etc. Next, to describe the historical popularity of a topic. For example, X theory is widely accepted as or is widely used as. These are the common usages. The recommended substitutes are widely accepted, then the preferred theory, or we can say commonly or frequently implemented theories, then the prevailing method for, etc. To describe the recent focus on a topic.
Usual way of writing is like this: much attention has been drawn to this topic, or this topic has gained much importance in the recent years. Instead of these phrases, we can write discussions regarding X have dominated research in recent years. X has appealed to. X has propelled to the forefront in investigations of Y. X has dramatically or significantly shaped queries on X in recent years. X has critically influenced academic dialogue on Y. To identify the current majority opinion about a topic, instead of writing the consensus has been that, we can write prior research generally confirms that, or several studies agree that, or prior research substantiates the belief that. Next, to discuss the findings of existing literature, instead of writing previous studies indicate or have documented or have demonstrated, have shown that, we can write previous studies content, purport, suggest, prefer, have proven that. To express the breadth of our current knowledge base, including gaps, original word or phrase, much is known about or but little is known about. Instead of writing these phrases, we can write the academic community has extensively explored X. Prior research has thoroughly investigated. However, little research has been conducted to show. However, prior studies have failed to evaluate or identify or any other word that can be used to replace analyze. To segue into expressing your research question, several theories have been proposed to explain. To solve this problem, many researchers have tried several methods. Instead of writing like this, we can write recent or previous studies have promoted, prior investigations have implemented or queried diverse approaches to, a number of authors have posited. Next main point is describing the analytical elements of a paper. To express agreement between one finding and another, usually it is written like this: this paper or study supports. Instead of writing supports, we can write substantiates, confirms, corroborates, underlines. Next, to present contradictory findings, usually it is written this paper or study calls into question. We can use substitutes like challenges, disputes, rebuts, refutes, disproves, debunks, invalidates, rejects, questions. To discuss limitations of a study, original word or phrase, the limitations of this paper include recommended substitute. These investigations, however, disregards. This method or approach fails to. X falls short of addressing or identifying or illustrating. A drawback or disadvantage of this framework is this framework, however, solely pertains to. Next main point is discussing results. To draw inferences from results, the data or these findings suggest or show. Instead of writing these words, substitutes like extrapolate, deduce, surmise, approximate, derive, extract, evidence, etc. can be used. Next, to describe observations. Observed event or result, original word or phrase, appeared or was observed to. Recommended substitutes include manifested, surfaced, materialized, yielded, generated, perceived, detected. Next, to describe simulations. A simulation was created to, a simulation was used to, a simulation was performed to. Instead of writing like this, we can write this study or research simulated, replicated, imitated, etc. Next, let's have a look at explaining the impact of new research. Usually we write this paper or study demonstrates or shows. Recommended substitutes are illustrates, proves, evidences, strengthens the position that, etc. Then, to highlight a paper's conclusion, usually it is written like this paper or study establishes or proves. Instead of writing like this, we can write this paper attributes or illustrates or advances the idea that. To explain how research contributes to the existing knowledge base, this paper or study offers or introduces. Substitutes are ushers in, proffers, conveys, promotes, advocates, introduces, broach, reveals, unveils, exposes, unearths. We have gone through some of the tips that we can use to improve vocabulary while writing a research paper. Here ends part 3. Thank you so much.